Hey everybody, welcome to Fragrance Explorer. My name's Robert and today we're taking a look at Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky. So let's get started. Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky is a sweet, woody flanker to the original 1 Million. Now this was introduced in 2018, so let's take a look at the note breakdown. In the top we have synthetic ozonic notes, plum, grapefruit, and bergamot. In the mid we have hazelnut, cedar, cashmere wood, jasmine, and honey. And in the base, we have patchouli, oakmoss, vetiver, and amberwood. I have to start off by telling you that this is a compliment-getting fragrance. I got this a couple of months ago, and I didn't start wearing it until just recently. I've been started going into the more of the springtime and summer fragrances as I'm reviewing them. And this is one that I was kind of waiting on trying, and I'll tell you what, as soon as I started wearing it, everywhere I go, I get stopped by men and women asking me what I'm wearing, what's it called, where can they get it. This is a compliment-getting fragrance. It's probably the most compliment-getting fragrance that I've ever donned. And if you like sweet, gourmand fragrances, I think you're really going to love this fragrance. But let's get into what really makes it great. So even though there are quite a few notes that are listed in the note breakdown, the 3-star players that really stand out more than anybody else in this fragrance are honey, hazelnut, and plum. Those 3 notes really define the character of this fragrance. Even though this is a woody, it feels much more like a gourmand because those 3 notes really do kind of come to the forefront and draw your attention to them. So we open with a really sweet, juicy, sensual plum in the opening. And that's paired up with a synthetic ozonic accord that the best way I can describe it, I used to live out west in New Mexico, and it's like when a thunderstorm starts to roll in kind of in late August, and the air kind of gets this electrically charged presence about it right before the rain starts to fall. You'll get this really fresh scent in the air it's really hard to describe other than if you've lived somewhere that has kind of these thunderstorms that has kind of that electrically charged presence. It's not as pungent as you can create ozone by having an electrical arc, and that's kind of a pungent smell. This is more like that fresh smell that you get right before a thunderstorm is about to start in late summer. In addition to that, we've got a couple of citrus notes with grapefruit and bergamot that complement all of that in the opening. The opening is very sweet, and the star player there is the plum in that opening. So the mid is really where this fragrance starts to shine. And the 2 notes in the mid that really stand out are hazelnut and honey. Now the hazelnut has kind of a savory nuttiness about it, and that's reinforced with some cedar, which gives it kind of a woodiness as well. Now, along with that, we get the honey note, and the honey really just adds this pleasing floral sweetness. And the floral sweetness of the honey is reinforced with a white floral note. We've got some jasmine, and jasmine is one of those things that's a really, if you've ever smelled jasmine in a garden, it doesn't take much of a vine of jasmine to really just have a sweet floralness that overwhelms a garden. And so you've got this jasmine paired up with this honey that just really reinforces the sweetness of this mid. So we get a white floral sweetness, and then we get the honey on top of that, and then all of that is with the cedar and the hazelnut. The mid of this fragrance is just phenomenal. People really compliment it, and when I get compliments about it, it's always, "You really smell sweet. That's just such a sweet smell. What is that?" And so people, oftentimes when they compliment me, they want to know what it smells like, and so I have to tell them that it's primarily kind of a honey-based smell that they're getting if they like that sweetness. It's a very alluring scent, and it draws people in. Both men and women seem to really be drawn to this fragrance. So our base includes 3 notes that are found in a lot of masculine woody fragrance with patchouli and vetiver and oakmoss. And so we get some sweet muskiness and some kind of fresh green kind of hay-like notes with the vetiver, and then you get an inky bitterness with the oakmoss. And that's there, so it gives us kind of that traditional woody base that everything's riding on top of. But additionally, we get this amberwood that's been added into the base. And amberwood's really interesting. It's meant to mimic ambergris, and yet it's not ambergris, and it's meant to kind of smell a bit like amber, and yet it's not amber. And so it has kind of a sweetness and resinousness like an amber, but it's not amber. And it also has kind of some of the characteristics of ambergris, and yet it's not as salty or tobacco-like as ambergris. So it's interesting, but it's a fixative that they put in the base of this fragrance that really imparts some power and intensity and longevity to this fragrance that you don't find in a lot of modern fragrances. I like it a lot. I'm hoping that we're going to start seeing some of this amberwood show up in a lot more fragrances because it does seem to enhance the performance of the fragrance. So let's talk a little bit about presentation. So 1 Million Lucky follows the same kind of theme that the original 1 Million does, with a flask that's kind of shaped like a bar of gold. Now the color scheme has changed on this in that this flask kind of, it's got kind of a faceplate here that looks like white gold with some yellow gold accents. And on the original 1 Million, all of this is just yellow gold. So it's kind of chamfered here on the top, and you've got the atomizer built into the top. There's a button to depress here for the atomizer. The back is kind of a clear, you can see through the flask, and then the juice itself has kind of got a yellow goldish tint to it. The atomizer is really adequate, and although it distributes the fragrance fairly well, you'll notice on this faceplate for this atomizer that there's like a little slot here at the front of the atomizer, and the nozzle for the atomizer actually has to shoot through that little slot. And what I've found is as I depress the atomizer button, what happens sometimes is as that nozzle travels down that slot, the spray will actually impinge on the edge of the bottom of that slot, and you'll get a little bit of dribble down the face here. And so it's a good atomizer in the sense that it distributes the droplets fairly evenly, and you get a nice droplet pattern. At the same time, you waste a little bit if you fully depress the atomizer button all the way down. You're going to get a little bit of dribble on here, and so you're going to waste a little bit of juice with almost every spray. So I typically make my sprays kind of little short bursts that don't fully depress the atomizer button so that I don't waste so much fragrance. So the batch code is found almost laser etched right near the base. If you turn the bottle around, it's not on the bottom. It's right here on the back of the bottle. There's like a little laser etched code. Mine says 92541. And so it's right here, kind of, it's kind of hard to see. You got to get it in good light and kind of tip it so that you can get some light glinting off of the surface. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to read. But that batch code, you'll find the matching batch code right on the stamped into the bottom of your box. So it's right next to the QR code and right below the barcode. You'll find it stamped on the bottom of the box as well. So that's what the packaging looks like. And the juice itself, it's got kind of a gold, almost honey-like tint to it, which is fitting because it smells very much like honey. So performance of this fragrance is solid. It lasts a good 6 to 8 hours. When I apply it, sometimes I go when I originally started wearing it, I must have been going nose blind because I didn't think it really had that great a performance. But what I found out is that other people can really smell it. So you put it on, you get used to the fragrance, but 3, 4, 5 hours later, people will come close to you and they'll be like, man, that smells really good. What are you wearing? So this one does last a full 6 to 8 hours. I get out of a work day. Now I refresh. I don't know if I need to refresh at 8 hours, but typically I've been refreshing because I like this fragrance a lot. I'll wear it to work, and then after work I'll freshen it. I'll put a couple of spritz on to last me for the remainder of the evening. But it does have very good performance, and I think it's that amberwood in that base that really provides some longevity to this fragrance. Now projection, the sillage, the scent cloud that you get is pretty good too. It's I would call it moderate to heavy. So it reaches out a good probably 6 to 8 feet, or about 6 feet, at least 2 meters from your body. You're going to get a projection cloud around you, especially during the opening. So this fragrance gets really good reviews at Fragrantica. It's got a 4.09 rating out of 5. And if you read some of the reviews from women that have left kind of written reviews about these fragrances, you'll find descriptions like This is catnip for women. It's sexy, it's sensual, it's a date night fragrance, it's for bedroom time. So women really respond to this fragrance a lot. My wife likes it a lot. Every time I wear it, she really responds to it. She compliments it. Now I've got quite a few fragrances that I like, but she doesn't like at all. But this is one that we both agree on. We both like it. Now, the versatility is really good on this fragrance as well. You could wear this any time of year. It's fitting for daytime and evening wear. It's fitting for just about any weather, with the exception, and it's not really an exception, it's just I wouldn't put it on as heavy in the heat of the summer months, because this one does project really well and it is sweet. I think that, coupled with heat from your body in a hot setting, would really make it project even harder, and it might become off as cloying. So that's the only thing I just back off on the number of spritzes. I wouldn't stay away from it for summer wear, but I would just back off on the amount that I put on for summer wear. Now, pricing for this right now for a 100 milliliter bottle at Amazon.com, you can pick this up for about $65 US. I looked this up today. Retail pricing at Sephora or Macy's is going right around $92 for this 100 milliliter bottle. Thanks for joining us again this week. I appreciate you guys watching and chatting in the comments, and liking the channel and subscribing and liking the videos and engaging with me in the comments and being respectful to me and one another. I really do appreciate it. I like to have this alternative right now, especially with what's going on with everybody in lockdown, and there's a lot of animosity going on in the media. I just like to be able to have something that's an alternative to everything that's going on right now, kind of a distraction from everybody's cares, and hopefully this provides some of that. But my son recommended that maybe we try some different stuff in addition to the reviews of fragrances, look at kind of lower cost alternatives. So even though this isn't a really expensive fragrance, it's only running $65 to $100 US, and a lot of the fragrances that I have are kind of in that price range, is maybe provide alternatives to some of these fragrances that are not cheap. I don't want to point out things that are cheap smelling, but maybe more cost-effective alternatives that are similar and go in the same general direction. And so he mentioned that to me, and I thought, well, maybe I'll give that a shot. If you guys are interested in that, let me know, and we'll try it out for a while. I'm not sure it'll stay with the channel, but if you guys like it and we get good feedback on it, maybe we'll keep doing that for a while. But I appreciate you guys engaging in the comments, and I hope you have a blessed week and that you stay safe and that you'll join us again next weekend. Thanks a lot.